Hey guys, how are we all? I hope you're all doing really well. Now, first things first, I haven't quite kept up with the schedule that I intended. Did a video not too long ago saying that I was looking to get back into YouTube for the longevity, but the reality is, again, it's a time thing. It's a poor excuse, but again, it's just something that I'm really struggling to keep up with, to be brutally honest with you. I do have some plans for new content that is away from the match reviews and previews that I typically do, looking to make another follow-up documentary to the Stagnating Giant that I did almost a year ago. So I've got some things in the pipeline. It's just a case of, like Arsenal's transfer dealings at the minute, getting it over the line, which is what I really want to talk about today. Now, I'm making this video in the midst of Arsenal's 4-1 victory over Crystal Palace. A brilliant win for the team, a blitzing opening 20 minutes, a fantastic performance in that first half. Second half, definitely there was more to be desired, but that first half, I mean, we were just so good for that opening 20 minutes. And it's it's the only time that Crystal Palace have lost twice in their last 13 games. Which I know is not saying much. It's a very minimal victory for Arsenal at this moment in time, but it was a very confidence boosting opening 20 minutes, and I mean, maybe that was a sign of the type of football we can play now. This weight has been lifted off our shoulders, and of course that comes down to the name of Alexis Sanchez, who is the most talked about figure in football at the minute. Before I get on to him, there's a player that I definitely want to talk about who's recently left Arsenal Football Club. There's two players actually that I want to talk about. First one's Francis Coquelin, who's recently moved to Valencia. Had a good debut for them, a solid debut, and he followed that up with, unfortunately, a loss in his last game. But he seems to be starting as a regular figure for the Spanish side, and it's a good move for him. It's not a downgrade from Arsenal. Valencia, I mean, obviously we'd like to say we're a better club than them, but let's be realistic. He's moving to a very overachieving team. Not overachieving, but they're certainly doing well in the Spanish league this season. Better than some Valencia fans may have expected, and it's a very good move for him. He'll probably be playing Champions League football next season. They're rivaling teams like Real Madrid at the minute. Real Madrid, of course, they're not having the best of seasons, but for Valencia, that's certainly a good trait to their club. And it's a shame it didn't work out for Francis Coquelin. I'd certainly rather have kept him over El Nene, who ironically had a very good performance against Palace yesterday. But he's a player that I've really liked. I adored him in that 2014-15 season, and it's a shame to see him go. But it's a good move for him. Shame that we only got 12 million for him, but again, as I say, it's a productive move for the player, and I wish him all the best at his new club. And the same goes for Theo Walcott, a player that's been at Arsenal for 12 years now, and recently moved to Everton. A move that just it was talked about for a week or so. Really the transfer seemed to get over the line rather quickly, and it's a productive move for Theo Walcott as well. He's going to a club where he should be starting week in, week out. Aaron Lennon seems to have been given the boot by Everton, and Walcott will take that place on the right for them. Got an assist on his debut, really happy for him. We all know on that right-hand side, last season, scored 19 goals from that position. And it's a big positive. He's a great player. On his day, he can be unplayable, and I don't think that's me overreacting at all. At times, he really has been exceptional in an Arsenal shirt. Games that spring to mind, Liverpool away when he made that blitzing run. Games at home to Manchester United where he led the line and was absolutely phenomenal. Tottenham, games like that. Chelsea, love playing against Chelsea, and he's a player that it's a shame that it hasn't quite worked out for him. And I don't want to sound ludicrous in saying that. This is a last chance saloon for Theo Walcott at Everton. I mean, it probably could well be the last move of his career, but it's a good opportunity for him to potentially get in Gareth Southgate's plans for the World Cup in Russia. I know that people probably won't even be mentioning Russia and Walcott in the same breath at a minute, but he's a player that if he does get a run of games together, then he shouldn't go under the radar because he's a fantastic outlet. It's a great move for him, and he's a player that I've personally always admired. Been frustrated with at times, I'll happily admit that. He's a player that really has wound me up, but he's a player that I've always respected, a model professional. And you've got to say, when the likes of Nasri, Fabregas, Van Persie left, even though there was that whole debacle with his contract situation, he did remain at Arsenal, was a loyal servant to the club. And again, only another player that I think we've done the right thing in moving him on. And I hope that he does all the best at Everton and does give himself a chance of going to the World Cup in the summer. But yeah, as I say, we all know what the base of this video is going to be, and it is, of course, around the transfer of Alexis Sanchez to Manchester United, with us potentially bringing in, well, what it looks like is a done deal in Henrik Mkhitaryan coming the other way. A deal that, it's a tough one for me because since that whole thing went on in the summer with Alexis Sanchez and the way he's played, his attitude, I've really wanted him gone, to be honest. I've really wanted him gone, and we all knew that he was going to go to either one. Well, we all thought it would be Manchester City before this transfer with United occurred, and if I had to pick between Alexis going to United or City, it's a tough one because, you know, you don't want him to go to either one, but if he'd have gone to City, he's going to guarantee himself a trophy. He's going to guarantee himself the Premier League title. At Manchester United, he's getting a massive, massive payoff. And let's leave the money out of this for 1 second. He is moving to what is the biggest club in England. I don't think anyone can deny that Manchester United are a massive, massive team. They're not going to win the league this season, but is he a player that could potentially boost them into winning the league next season? It's a tough one. I mean, it's hard to. I don't feel the same as I did when Van Persie left. When he left for United, I was livid. I was absolutely fuming. But in this instance, with Alexis going there, I mean, it's a hollow victory in a sense, because we know he's not going to win the league there this season. Could potentially in the future, but this season it's kind of almost guaranteed that he's not going to win the league there. But again, it's similar to the Oxlade-Chamberlain situation. He's moving to a club because he wants to try something new and give himself a chance of going to a club which he might view as having more ambition. And I don't want to get into a whole situation where I'm talking about what club has more ambition. I'm sure that, although we always talk about Arsenal, you know, saying that we lack ambition, we lack passion, etc., I'm sure that Ivan Gazidis, Arsene Wenger would tell you the exact opposite, that this club does want to win trophies. And I do think there is a mentality problem at Arsenal, but I think this is a little bit deeper than that. And I don't know. It's a tough one for me. I think it's a positive deal for Arsenal. We're not getting any cash for the player, but we are getting a player in the valuation of about 30 to 35 million in Mkhitaryan, and a player that on his day is brilliant. I mean, you could quite easily say the same for someone like Theo Walcott, but Mkhitaryan, let's not forget, was Bundesliga Player of the Year not too long ago. He came to Manchester United as an unbelievable footballer, and it hasn't worked out for him under Mourinho. Maybe that's due to the style that Mourinho's adopted, where they play a more passive type of football. But at Arsenal, he's going to be allowed to play in a free role alongside the likes of Mesut Ozil, etc. And I don't think we're going to miss Alexis at all. And I think that game against Palace really was evidence of what we can do without him in the side. It was a relief for the Arsenal players, it seemed, to get this out of our minds. We're not going to miss those selfish runs into dark alleys that he so often made. Yes, he scored some unbelievable goals. He attributed to some brilliant football this season and last season, and for his entire time at Arsenal Football Club. But I think we're going to play more positive football with him. You know, you're going to miss a player like Alexis Sanchez. He's a world-class footballer. Manchester United are getting a world-class player. Let's not try and hide that fact. But that doesn't mean that Arsenal are suddenly going to start playing poor football. We're allowed to play the type of football that should suit the team and the philosophy that Arsene Wenger has so often adopted at this club. And it should suit the style of someone like Mkhitaryan and potentially Aubameyang if he is to come into the Arsenal team. We've seen Ivan Gazidis out in Germany today potentially finalising a deal which would be you know, surreal. Aubameyang, a player that we've talked about for so long that we'd love to see at Arsenal Football Club, a world-class striker, and Mkhitaryan, if we were to get him back to his best, would be a world-class footballer. So you've got to say, Alexis out the door, Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang in, it's hard not to look at that positively, and it's good to see the club making forward strides. Is it too late? 100%. It's, you know, this type of stuff should have been done in the summer. Why we've left it for January, you know, God alone knows. We should have implemented these kind of deals in the summer, and it makes you ponder, how long has Aubameyang been a target of Arsenal Football Club? Because I think there were times back when he was at Saint Etienne and people were already noticing the ability this guy had. And again, he's another one of those players, similarly to Lacazette, that I'm sure Arsene Wenger has scouted for a long time and just never made a move on him. We've waited till he's 29 years old, and now we're going to go in for the kill, which is it's a tough one. Like I'm saying throughout the course of this video, it's a very puzzling situation, but it is at least a positive. With those additions in the team, I think we're going to play some really exciting football. I do still think there are issues in this squad. I still think the midfield is questionable. Granit Xhaka, I still think he's got room for improvement. The defence 100% needs work. We've got to be looking to the future. Koscielny's 32 years old. He's got this recurring injury. That's something that needs to be addressed in the summer. Petr Cech as well. I'd like to see us replace him in the summer. It's a rebuilding phase, and I think finally getting Alexis out of Arsenal is in a way a positive. You never, as I say, you don't want to lose a player like him, and I don't want to start repeating myself. But if it allows us to play the type of football that we traditionally play, as we did in that 2013-14 season where we had that team which was fueled by Santi Cazorla. If Mkhitaryan could become our new Santi Cazorla, that would be fantastic. And we've got him linking up with Mesut Ozil, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Jack Wilshere, Aaron Ramsey, Granit Xhaka when he's on form. This is a very exciting team. It's just a case of can they get their mentality right, and can we finish this season on a high. We've got 2 trophies to go for. We beat Chelsea in the week, then we're through to the final of the League Cup, and then we've got the Europa League to play for. 2 trophies that I never thought I'd want to see Arsenal winning, to be brutally honest with you. But if we're going to get something out of this season, we've got to win them. And the top 4 race isn't over. It's obviously at the start of the season, it's not what we set out to achieve, but at this point it is a realistic goal, and it's something that we do have to be going for. I want to see Arsenal in the Champions League next season, and we've got to get as many points on the board as possible. Finish this season in the top 3, if at all possible. It's going to be a big ask, but I still think that whilst the opportunity is there, we should go for it. Get as many points in the league. Obviously, being out of the FA Cup, losing 4-2 to Notts Forest, I don't want to talk about that. That was disgraceful. But win the Europa League, win the League Cup, hopefully. We've got a big squad now, and we've shifted out the players that I think needed to be moved on. And it's as I say, it's a rebuilding phase, but I think as an Arsenal fan, you have to get the positives out of a situation like this. It's very, very dark and dismal and depressing seeing Alexis go to Manchester United. But as I said earlier on in this video, I don't see it as the same situation that happened with Robin van Persie. It's quite different for me. But I'm not going to wish Alexis the best of luck because I don't really have an opinion, or well, that's a bit contradictory. But I don't particularly care about what he does from here on in. If he got a broken leg, God, obviously I hope he doesn't, but I'd be fine with that. I'll cut that. But yeah, interesting times. I'm not going to say exciting just yet. We'll see what happens in the rest of this window. We'll see if we get Aubameyang over the line, and hopefully we'll bring in Mkhitaryan and get him back playing to his best. But let's see how this pans out, because we're all talking about it being very exciting in a minute, but let's see how these players link up on the pitch, and let's get a few more results on the board, like that one yesterday against Crystal Palace, which definitely was a confidence-boosting performance, given everything that's going on with Arsenal Football Club. Next up, we've got Chelsea in the League Cup semi-final. Again, we've got to be going out there to win. I'm looking forward to that one. Be good to get through to the final of the Cup. That could be a big confidence boost halfway through the season if we were to win that. And yeah, all round, let's look at this situation with our heads held high and hope that we can still get the best out of what has been a crumbling season so far. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments box below. Again, sorry for the inconsistency of these videos. I'm trying to do them as often as I can and to the best possible quality that I can. Obviously, filming this with my webcam, so it's not living up to the standards that I set myself. But it would be good to get talking Arsenal more, because I do miss it. We'll see what I can do, and yeah, I hope you're all doing really, really well, and I will speak to you very, very soon. See you later, guys. Cheers.